Hi, this is Francis Poeta.
And I'm Garrett Rowe, and today we're going to take you through IBM's Journey to Cloud 3.0. For over 100 years, IBM has been building technology to help our customers run their businesses more efficiently.
Recently, we've been doing this with applications. We've done it with solutions. Well, we've combined those applications, those solutions, to build a platform.
A platform we can deploy anywhere.
Now, this platform was built with one thing in mind: business outcomes. Users' expectations are high. We expect there to be a chat box there for us to ask questions about.
We should be able to find things that are of importance to us without knowing exactly how to search them.
And finally, that we should interact with those in all new ways. Finally, a way to interact with a computer without using our hands. 2006, 2007, there was a thought process in the industry around eucalyptus and the early cloud. This would be an extension of high performance clustering, a parallel cloud environment.
Essentially, the thought was lift and shift workloads from one hypervisor, probably VMware, up into a different hypervisor, run up in the cloud on shared commodity hardware.
And in a time of very large economic stress, we could save money. As we came out of that recession, IBM as a corporation looked at it and said, that's really not saving anybody. When you look at long-term operational costs, we don't know that that's really a savings model. So if you look at this from a line of business standpoint, that beginning part was a cost savings, but I didn't get any new customers. And well, today, I think we're at that hockey stick, right? If we're going to take advantage of this architecture, this cloud architecture, what we really need to do is understand how we turbocharge our businesses. How do we really get new clients? So the way to do that in a Cloud 3.0 journey is that we must be open to ubiquitous sources of data. And then how do we distribute it? How do we give it to users no matter where they're at, no matter what device they want to look at it on? And it has to be an easy to use platform, whether it's in the front end with our end customers or with our developers, our data scientists, our business analysts, our business IP users, right? The guys who actually have the knowledge to transform where we're going. Most importantly, it has to be future-proof. We cannot go back to the world of vendor lock-in. We must utilize open source and open standards, because with that power, we can drive revenues. We can drive new businesses. So at IBM, we really stepped back in the last 2 years and said, we're going to redefine our cloud mission. We're going to look at our customers and really provide them what they need. How do we build a cloud that allows you to take the fullest advantage of cloud native architectures?
A platform you could run on IBM Cloud, in your data center, or in any competitive cloud that you want.
We provide you with a single platform in which you don't have to train people. Well, I have some people who are trained on here and some people are trained over there. No, it's cloud native development. It should be the same development no matter where you're at. So how did we get to this? We had a whole bunch of internal virtualized machines, 90% of which were running on VMware. And we said, well, we're gonna not worry about the infrastructure anymore. We're gonna get rid of that and we're gonna move those workloads over there. And we've done that with about 20% of our workloads enterprise-wide. And the cloud vendors all said, well, we can build you some services. Maybe instead of you running your own, we'll give you a little service here, but you got to manage it for the most part. And oh, by the way, we'll give you some operational services, right? And then in the last few years, we've come up with these much more event-driven and serverless compute models. A lot of our competitors in this space have done their own proprietary versions of this.
Exactly, and that's bad for customers. We've open sourced it all. What about historical investments?
We know that customers have enormous investments that span decades in technology. There's a lot of compliance and operation and governance that have been built into hypervisors. And in most enterprises, that hypervisor was VMware. And so if you look about today at the 80% of workloads that still exist inside of our customers' data centers, there's an enormous cog cost that comes with changing hypervisors. It also takes time. It's almost the dive into the deep time zone of just time expended waiting to coordinate with consultants and accountants and security analysts. All that leaves very little money and even less time to be able to delight our customers, to be able to change our systems of engagements, to be able to modernize those applications. And so our customers are looking at it going, I've read your annual report. You went to the cloud. I see absolutely no change in your application. This new startup has an application that delights me as a user, and so I'm going to switch to their product.
At IBM, we work to fundamentally change how this works. Our platform features a native VMware implementation that uses the same compliance, operations, and governance model as your existing data center. No new tools, no refactoring, no modification. Let's take a look at how it works. So I have a VMware environment. In my case, I'm a developer, so you're looking at VMware Fusion on my desktop, but it could very well be a vCenter environment in my data center. I've got several virtual machines, and one is my production environment. So it's a traditional stack of database, web tiers, admin servers, portal servers. In this case, Oracle. But IBM has something very similar with our WebSphere, and then JBoss is also very similar. As you know, it's a lot to manage. And so on top of all of that, I'm running my one web application. Now it's a basic application that reaches back in, grabs some user information from a database, features a public portal where I can find information and grab it. And the problem is, how do I get that new feature? How can I implement that new feature quickly? In this environment, it can be rather challenging to do. A month or two to roll out a new feature. Let's say I want to globalize this and take it across 12 different languages because my customers, well, not all of them speak English. What if I wanted to add a chatbot to it? Well, that's another 4 to 6 months of development and implementation to get it rolled out. Well, it doesn't have to be like that. As Francis was saying, what if I move this application up into the cloud, buy myself some time and money to develop it in an easier fashion? Let's see how that works. So here's the IBM platform. I've created a VMware cluster that we're going to use today to move my on-premise workload up into the IBM cloud. And again, no change to the compliance, the operations, the governance. I'm going to move it exactly how it is. So you can see I've got my vCenter server, and I can quickly access the console. So my vCenter environment up in the cloud exactly mirrors the same that I have in my local data center. So you can see I've moved my application from my data center up into the cloud, and it's very easy to do. We feature NSX, vMotion, all the normal tools that you would use to migrate or move a VM from one environment to another. Again, nothing inside the individual VM changes at all. You can see from my Fusion UI, I also have a view into that cloud vCenter environment. And again, I've moved my application directly up into the cloud. So let's go look at it running up there. And again, I have the same exact portal now running inside of IBM Cloud. And it took zero effort on my part.
We have our entire paths available for you to start modernizing your applications. We're going to call that Cloud 1.5 because we think that jump starts the process of just lifting and shifting and really makes it an augmentation.
And we have a full Cloud 3.0 environment on the platform as well. Serverless functions, Kubernetes, AI, and machine learning tools, all based on open source with familiar tooling and deployment models.
And so we believe that you'll be able to start taking those workloads, and some of them will migrate to cloud native solutions, some of them will be augmented cloud native solutions, and some of them will stay as your VMware solutions. At the same time, allowing you to compete against competitors who don't have that historic data.
Exactly. And that historic data should make you much more agile if you're able to effectively use it in a new environment. Let's look to see how we can move up the stack from our VMware environment, minimizing what we plan on refactoring and leveraging the platform to implement new features and functionalities quickly. Now, any great cloud platform is built around a continuous integration delivery tool chain or pipeline. So let's say I'm a developer and I'm looking to reskin the front end of my legacy application that we saw before in VMware, globalize it, and add a chatbot. Well, here's how I do it inside of the IBM Cloud. We'll start by creating a toolchain. For right now, I'm going to choose Cloud Foundry. It's a great, easy way to get a production application going, and it will let us easily scale into Kubernetes once we get to that point. So I'll take the defaults, and I've set up a Git repository that has my application up and ready. Now all the integrations are pre-built into this pipeline. I can easily create a Cloud API key to go and touch the applications out in the platform and bring them in all automatically. Consider how that works on the on-premise solution. Each part of that toolchain you'll have to install and maintain yourself. When you end up needing a toolchain for your toolchain, it gets so complicated. And so my toolchain is ready. Let's start by looking out in Git. Now I built the new front end to this application in Node.js, and all of the front end data is contained in this JSON file. First thing we're going to do in the toolchain is translate this into a multitude of languages. So you can see a basic pipeline was pre-built for me, and right now it's automatically deploying out to our site. As it's doing that, I'm going to insert a stage to globalize this application. For input, we'll take the build artifacts, and for jobs, I will add a build job for globalization. Entering my source file name, target languages, I'll just take them all, and I'll save that. Next, I'll reorder so that we globalize before we deploy, and modify my deploy stage to now take in the globalized functions. So as you can see, the pipeline is now building the globalization. Through the toolchain, we can easily see the logs and monitor if there's any problems. So now my globalization deploy has passed. Let's go out and look at my application in Cloud Foundry. So as you see, I've skinned the application. So the site's still pulling the back-end data from my VMware environment, that customer data that's sitting out in the repository. But now I've globalized it. I've translated it to German, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, Chinese. And again, no effort from my part on all of these. All handled through the IBM globalization pipeline. I've also incorporated a chatbot. Now this is an API-based chatbot using the tooling in the IBM Cloud Platform. I had built it previously for our IVR. Now it's a voice and text-based chatbot, so it allowed me to easily integrate in natural language understanding, Watson Assistant, Watson Discovery, and other portions of the IBM Cloud Platform using the same exact APIs that I used for our IVR. Now I can ask it basic things, or something a little bit more intense. It's seamlessly integrated between my back-end data stores, my document repositories, and the tooling in the IBM Cloud Platform. So going back to my toolchain, now that I have this running out in Cloud Foundry, what if I need to take it to the next level? Cloud Foundry is a great platform for getting things up and running quickly, but it can run into scalability problems for very large amounts of traffic. Kubernetes steps in as the next level above this, in terms of scalability and flexibility for meeting my needs in a Web 3.0 environment. Let me show you how easy it is to take what we've already built and then scale it up to a Kubernetes environment. So again, I'm going to add another stage. I'll call this stage Kube. I'll take what comes out of my globalization pipeline and I'll add a new build job. For this time, I'm going to build to a container registry. Now it prompts me to add an API key. So I can simply create a new platform API key. Now that will allow the stage to go out and connect to my container registry. So here's the Kubernetes pane of the IBM Cloud Platform. You can see that I've got one cluster already deployed. We'll be using that today. And again, clusters are very easy to get. You push one button, say how many worker nodes you need to begin with, and everything is auto-provisioned for you. Now, a great feature of our Kubernetes platform is the container registry. It allows you to publish your containers up for use across your enterprise. Now it's divided down into namespaces, repositories, and images. We've got 2 images in that namespace so far, and interestingly, the Vulnerability Advisor is built directly into the container registry. And that will automatically scan for me the containers before they're deployed and while they're running, and check for any security issues. Now you can see I've engineered one image to have some issues. Now the platform gives me a great visual. Do not deploy this one. It does have a vulnerability. And it links directly in with the manufacturer's vulnerability ID, including a link out to exactly what the problem is and how to fix it. So back to my stage configuration, I'm going to drop in the namespace and I'm going to give it an image name that I'll remember later. Everything else I'll take as is. And so that's added to my toolchain. And now since I've already run the toolchain once, I can go ahead and just play the last stage and build my container and land it into my container registry. I could also deploy it directly into the Kubernetes cluster, but I'm going to show you exactly how that works clicking through the UI because it's also very easy. And great. So now the stage passed, and here we go. KubeU just landed a few seconds ago. The security is still scanning. And so knowing the tag name and the image name, which I'll use in a second, I can go ahead and deploy that out into my cluster. From the cluster, I'll launch my Kubernetes dashboard, and it's easy as clicking the Create button. I'll create an app, and I'll call it KubeU, and then it asks me for my container image out from the container repository. I also want to attach a service to this. It'll be a normal HTTP website, so port 80, and I'll click the Deploy button. And I can look at the services, and my KubeU is now an external service that I can go click into. Here's my website now running inside of Kubernetes with the same great features, the globalization, and my chatbot. So Francis, why don't you sum up for us the IBM value proposition?
So we're going to lower the cost of COG. We're going to decrease the time it takes you to take a workload from your on-premise environment into the cloud. And we're going to give you the ability to spend that budgetary money and all that important time where it really counts, which is on delighting your customers. Delivering to your customers new interfaces so that they feel that your business is focused on them.
Exactly. Letting you focus on the business and not having to worry about the technology. From all of us in IBM Cloud, thank you for your time today, and we look forward to speaking with you in person.